knowing when we're live. Isn't that right? We're finding
That
out
is right.
when we're live. When we're live, we find out when we're live. And hi, everybody. Welcome to tomorrow for June 30th, 2023. So glad to have you all here today. Hello, friends, Molly Mars Gal. And of course, you're joined today by myself, Jared. We also got our correspondent across the pond, Brian, and Dada helping us out at 204 today as well. And I want to wish everyone, especially Ryan, happy Independence Day coming up here in the United States in just a few days. So I hope you all are having a good one, having a good weekend, and hopefully you're going to enjoy your holiday coming up pretty soon. I don't know if it's a bank holiday or not for you all, Ryan, but if it isn't, it should be.
No, why would it be? Jared, we lost the bloody war. Why would it be a bank holiday over here?
A time to sit and reflect, perhaps. And let me tell you something that we all have been reflecting on, because a decade late, maybe more than a decade late even, but finally happening, was a certain great fireworks in the background there, by the way, Ryan. That was fantastic.
I've got an email as well.
Oh my gosh, Ryan.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. I'm ready.
That is ridiculous. We got something to talk about. Yep, these guys, these folks, kind of a bit of a big deal in what they did. They did the thing. They indeed did the thing. And if you don't know who we're talking about, Ryan, who are we talking about?
We are talking about everybody's favourite asterisk, Virgin Galactic. They are a little bit behind Blue Origin in their becomings to spool up commercial operations with their suborbital hops. But unlike Blue Origin, they are currently operational. And I just want to start off here with their website, which has recently been updated. And I just want to say, this is, hands down, the best website for any aerospace company I've ever seen. This entire thing is an interactive 3D model. I'm just going to show you what I'm on about. So I'm just going to scroll through the website, right? This isn't a video. This is doing it live. Just going to scroll through the website. And I just think the way that they have done this is absolutely incredible. So as you scroll down, the spaceship feathers, right? And you can see the sun on the horizon. And then, this is boring, this is just photos. And then as you get to the bottom of the page, they have a model of Spaceport America with White Knight 2 and the spaceship. And as you scroll, you zoom into the thing. This is just the coolest thing ever. It's just incredible. I love it.
That is
And
cool.
then it's just, and when you move the mouse around, it moves your view around a little bit as well. I mean, this is a website. Since when could websites do this? This is like how? It's just.
I'm loving
Headcrab
this.
says it sucks on a phone. I mean, I haven't tried it on my phone, but at least on desktop, it's, it's pretty sick. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
That is pretty nice. And I got to say, Ryan, it's really great to see you excited about something besides escalators as well. And if you don't know
websites, add websites to the list.
If you don't know what we're referring to, you should become a member of Tomorrow. You can go to youtube.com/TMRO/join, and you can become a member during the show and join us in the after show where very funny things like that end up happening. And yeah, look at that. That is gorgeous. I don't think they're going to launch at sunrise or sunset, but boy, it sure do look pretty, don't it?
They always seem to launch around it at the same time, which is about 9 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Standard Time, whatever the observed time zone is then. I guess that's just kind of what their process that Virgin Galactic have got nailed down. An early start, so they have good visibility when they drop. And then obviously have to glide back in for a landing. This is once in space, VSS Unity is a glider, so you only have one chance to stick the landing back at Spaceport America. So they need good weather.
Yeah, I was going to say early in the morning is definitely going to help with things like atmospheric turbulence and other stuff, and like you mentioned, good lighting as well, because I'm sure they're tracking assets out the wazoo, watching their Spaceship Two and White Knight, I bet, on the way up and down, both of them coming down with that. Speaking of their, not just of their cool website, because we could talk about the cool website, but the whole point in talking about the cool website is that they also did something actually cool this week. And Ryan, you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier they're spooling up commercial operations. Galactic 01, their first proper commercial flight. They had a flight earlier last month, I believe. I think it was at the end of May, when they brought up their two pilots and then four of their own people to test out the customer experience. This was the first fully crewed flight and the first flight to space since the Richard Branson's flight in 2021. Since then, between those, they did I think they did a carry flight, and they also moved the spacecraft and the aircraft around, and they also did a glide drop test flight with one where they didn't go to space. They just White Knight 2 just dropped Unity and it glided back to the runway. This is the first proper commercial operation mission that's been paid for by somebody else. It was paid for by the Italian Air Force, the government. They were doing some experiments. They had 3 Italian passengers on board. Colin Bennett from Virgin Galactic, who was there to make sure, basically the flight attendant for the mission, and then the 2 pilots up front who were flying the spacecraft. And this is a manual vehicle. This is manually flown to space. This isn't automated. Obviously, they have their instruments which they can look at, but this is, we can look at a video and you can see literally how manual this flight is. I believe it's the only spacecraft, albeit suborbital, that is manually flown to space. Somebody is holding a joystick and then flying this thing to space.
I can think of another one from a bygone era, but yeah.
Nowadays, you look at Dragon, you just press a button and it does everything for you. This is proper old school joystick, hand doing everything.
Well, let's take a gander at that. Let's see what that looks like.
I can't remember which one it is. I think it's this one. I'm going to try this. Okay, so the way I've sussed this out, right, that the video is coming from one place and the audio is coming from another place. So if they're a little bit out of sync, I do apologise, but it's the best solution that I could come up with. So we're going to try to sort this. And for this to work, I need to mute Dutter and Jared. So if they start shouting at me, I can't hear them. So let's give this a go. Let's try and get this to work. And
all right,
go.
3, 2, 1, release.
I clicked the wrong video. Never mind. Hang on.
Ryan. How could you? And I'm echoing.
Where are we? This is the joys of doing this, right? Okay.
Yep,
we'll
we're
do
live.
it live. It's fine.
Oh, I got the right video. Unless I just got the video in the wrong place. Let's see. I want this one. Oh, I was too far forward. I want this one at 51 seconds. That's where I want it. 51. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
3, 2, 1, release.
Fire.
3, 2, 1, release.
Fire.
Release.
So there you go. That's pretty much where the audio ends, but the video continues for a little while. Yeah. I didn't realise how much the drop jolted the Unity around after being dropped from VMS Eve, and you can see the spacecraft going up there. Just looks incredible. Honestly incredible. But yeah, they get jolted around so much. Just like, there you go, release, and they're like, da-dunk! And then they're dropped. I thought it'd be like a graceful, just, fall and then ignition. I did expect the jolt from ignition, being pushed back into your seat. But no, the jolt comes from dropping. And you can see the flame out here as well. And everyone having a good time.
Yeah, it looks a little busy though.
Yeah.
Let's try dropping you from an airplane and see how that jolts you.
Preferably inside of a spacecraft. They're just being thrown out the side of an aircraft. The feather is always, I love it because you get the reflection of the Earth on the back. And of course, got to get the flag out. Here we go.
Nothing says zero G like waving a flag.
Yeah.
GTH042 says, "Wow, no panic with fire, fire, fire."
I would hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And JTTV also saying the rocket sounds very tinny. So
I'm guessing
Sounds-
that they use some sort of GoPro-esque camera, so I'm imagining that any audio is getting kind of muffled by the housing which the microphone is in.
Sounds very carbony to me.
tinny as opposed to woody.
And you go. This
Well-
is
Yeah,
I
they were-
love this shot. This is a
Ooh.
great shot. Let's zoom in. Let's see here. So
Ooh, look, they didn't even cover anything up.
no. So this is essentially the user interface from Kerbal Space Program right here. That's literally what it is, though.
Ryan, be nice.
You've got your standby instruments here, and then you've got. I love this little representation here as well. You got the spacecraft here. I like this is too glad to see. This looks like config maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, kind of hard to tell. But still,
Yeah,
awesome that these views are unblurred for us to see.
Mm-hmm. No ITAR redactions here.
Well, it's not a missile.
And these shots as well, they were coming back through the cloud. I'm hoping. Oh, I didn't see a lot of it on that one. Let's try the other video. I think there's more of it on the other video. I do hope the pilots are IFR rated, to be able to fly through those clouds. Let's try this one. Is there any more on here?
Well, I mean, if you
Okay.
can do it.
I might have to put up the live stream in a second, but there was a very cool shot of the spaceship gliding through the clouds. It was a very cool thing to see. It was like that, but inside of the cloud. So there you go. Galactic 01, Virgin Galactic officially beginning commercial operations, and the next flight should be in July.
Interesting. And
One of the two.
Smokey in the chat room saying, "Well, it's not a missile." Well, not with that attitude. Aimed at you, Dutta, just to kind of remind you there. But yeah, I thought, I don't know if anybody watched the live stream. I thought they handled it pretty well for what it is. I can't imagine getting those live shots on a suborbital flight in the middle of nowhere. You know, New Mexico is exactly the easiest thing, but it was pretty fun to watch that live as they were doing it. Like, we actually got to see them doing their thing live inside of Spaceship Two. So
It's easier to capture that video over ground than it is to capture video over water.
yes, that's true. So that's why, and if anyone here would know, you know, I'm pretty sure. Detta, don't worry about having to place your hand in the correct place. Somebody's already bought that. So it's been auctioned for at least $5.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
5 and 10 nuggets. So $5 and 10 nuggets. So
Where's my nuggets?
oh yeah. Have they officially published a price yet? Because I thought I saw somebody throw out,
$450,000.
nice. Yeah.
I thought it was.
woohoo.
I thought it was 250.
It's 450 with the deposit. They don't tell
inflation.
you about the deposit, but there's a deposit.
Yeah, Dada, unfortunately, there's been this problem called supply chain issues, and it's made the prices
Yeah.
of suborbital space flights go up.
The problem is they can't supply enough flights.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully at this point they're going to be able to start supplying those flights. Of course, we'll have to see if they can hit the pace that they want to hit that clip that they want to with it. And
You
then
gotta hit
New
pace.
Shepard.
You gotta hit pace before you go bankrupt.
Yes, That's that's true. I'm trying so hard to not say things that are mean. Um, but Blue Origin is probably actually T-Man Army in the channel in the chat room literally taking the words right out of my mouth, which is what's Blue Origin's price? Probably a bit more expensive on that front, and I do believe that they are.
Well, I'm just looking through here. I haven't got a definitive answer. But of course, the first seed that Blue Origin sold was an auction thing for charity, which sold for $28 million, which is just a little smidge more. But the Observer is reporting here about a year ago that the average price will be between 200 and 300,000 US dollars. So, Virgin Galactic certainly above that ballpark, but that's not a definitive answer from Blue Origin. But we do have as definitive as an answer as we'll get from Virgin Galactic. So yeah, it's a rough number versus a number we've actually been told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also two, I would imagine, different experiences as well in that.
Yeah.
New Shepard from Blue Origin absolutely being a true rocket ride, and then Spaceship Two from Virgin Galactic essentially being a X-15 that can carry some extra people and payload on board.
So which would you rather do?
Why you gotta make me decide like this, Netta?
for the experience, which way of getting into suborbital flight do you think you would enjoy the most?
Well,
let's ignore schedule and price and the shortcomings of the companies. Which experience would you most enjoy?
Spaceship Two, because that's stick and rudder, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous and nuts, and that's wild. So I would absolutely want to experience that, because that's basically, it is the X-15 just that is capable of carrying passengers, and X-15 is like the greatest plane in my mind, and I would love to have sat in on an X-15 flight. So yeah, I would go with that.
How about you, Ryan?
I'm gonna have to say Virgin Galactic as well, just because I like the idea of a space plane more than a capsule with big windows. I feel like the shape of the vehicle as well. It's much longer than the capsule is. So I feel like as a human, you're tall, you're able to just spread out. I know there's chairs in the way, but you are able to, spread out a little bit more. So I feel like that would be
your zero-G Superman.
Yeah, do your zero-G Superman and just embrace the experience a little bit more. The windows, of course, are smaller, but it also does the backflip, so you're not just stuck with one plane of Earth, right? With New Glenn and not New Glenn, New Shepard.
New Shepard.
You go up, you go down, but you're in that sort of capsule orientation the entire time, right? That's the only way you'll see with Virgin Galactic.
It does a little spinny. It does a little
I know, but it doesn't go
so
upside down. With Virgin Galactic, you launch this way, and it has so much momentum going this way that it will come back over on itself, do a 360, and then come back 180, and then it re-enters back this way, right? So it does the backflip. So you get to see the Earth go around you, basically, with the windows that are up top. And I feel like that viewing experience, being able to see the Earth go around you, you get to see much more of the Earth, because you'll see it go around you. Like, you can look face on with the Earth. You can't look face on with the Earth with New Shepard, because if you go upside down in New Shepard, something's gone wrong, and that's not a very good thing. So that's just for viewing purposes and for the space purposes, that's why I prefer it.
I like GTH042's answer. For safety, the plane. For fun, the rocket. T-Man Army Channel says I would pick Blue Origin. Jay Keegan, ¿por qué no los dos?
That's a good one. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not turning down a Blue Origin ride. If Blue Origin wants to give me a ride and Virgin Galactic wants to give me a ride, I'll take both. I'll take either of them. I'm not saying no, I wouldn't want to go on Blue Origin. I'm just saying that if my preference, Like, I'm not turning down Blue Origin. If you want to give me a ride, give me a ride. I'm not going to say no. I'm not paying for it. You can give it to me, but I won't say no.
Yeah, Stephen Thompson here noting that New Shepard has an abort capacity and it also goes higher in altitude,
Well,
which is
to
true.
what degree? To what degree does New Shepard have an abort capacity that Spaceship 2 doesn't? Spaceship 2 can drop off White Knight 2 whenever it feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is that not an abort capacity? Because New Shepard's abort capacity is a solid rocket motor in the back. Spaceship 2 has a hybrid, nearly solid rocket motor in the back, right? What's the difference?
Once you start either of them, you can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say that New Shepard's abort capacity is any better. I'd say Spaceship 2's abort capacity, it will definitely have a minimum altitude, because you don't want to drop as soon. You want to try glide back to the runway as soon as you've taken off. You won't have enough altitude to do that. So maybe that's the way you could say New Glenn. I keep saying New Glenn. New Shepard might have better abort capacity in that sense, but they both have solid rocket motors in the back. Asterisk. So the abort capacity is kind of similar if you think about it in that way.
Yeah, and honestly, if I was to do a New Shepard flight, I would want them to kick that abort motor at the top for me, if they don't mind. I'd like a little bit
Blue
more
Origin has
altitude.
specifically said in conferences that that has been requested, and they have had to officially confirm that is not a purchasable option for New Shepard flights. So unfortunately, unless something goes wrong, you are not going to be getting a launch escape option added onto your New Shepard flight, which is a big shame. The market exists. They've had to officially confirm it, which means the market does exist, which is brilliant.
Tell me what thing I have to mess with while we're boarding, so that at the right time we need to abort.
You puncture a hole in the side of the tank of New Shepard.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Get your chisel and hammer.
Yeah. Ryan, I feel like that's a really good point in terms of like, what can I see out the window? Blue Origin's got the bigger windows, but at the same time, it's very much like if I'm on an airplane looking out the window, I'm often head almost like directly on the glass, trying my best to look around, and injuring my neck, just because I want to see certain things when I'm up there. I imagine that's what would happen. And oh my goodness, look who's jumped into the chat room. It's Jamie. Hey, Jamie. Little hello from Jamie there. Hi, Jamie. And everybody. And now the whole chat room is just going to be like, "Hey, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Forget the show. Who cares?
Get it over and done with.
Jamie's here.
There you go.
So I was going to say,
I have the frame pulled up here from the video that Virgin Galactic released. You can see Colin Bennett's head here in comparison to the window. So you can see that the window is bigger than your average airplane window. I'd say probably even bigger than the Dreamliner windows, because they're massive compared to normal airplane windows. But the windows on the New Shepard's capsule are definitely larger. However, your view is more constrained. You'll only get to see Earth parallel to the Earth. You will never get to see Earth perpendicular through those windows. So I guess it kind of depends. It depends what your preferences are, really. Do you want the bigger window or do you want the bigger view? So those are your two options.
I'll take the bigger view. Honestly, one of the things we've always wanted to see is our house from space, or our neighborhood at least from space. LA from space would probably be that would just floor us 100%.
I don't know that you'd be able to see that from the New Mexico desert.
I don't think so either. I'm definitely not seeing it from Texas. Maybe I will. Call me up, Virgin. I'll bring some binoculars along. I'll bring my telescope on the flight and see if I can make that work. Absolutely not. And Jamie chiming in saying I would fly on both. So, and go for it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm with you, Ryan. If whoever wants to hand me a ride, I'm not going to say no.
Exactly. I wouldn't say no. I'm just saying I prefer the Virgin one. It doesn't mean I don't like the blue one. I just, I have preference. I think they're both great. but I like one more than the other. So,
Ar-
like,
Arvale had a really good point here too, which is about Spaceship Two, which is that it has more space to do backflips without the abort motor in the way. It is a significantly roomier cabin compared to the New Shepard cabin,
but I
and
would
that
note
New
on
Shepard
that
cabin. Ugh.
there is the abort motor in the way, but these flights, I'd argue that there you go. There's no abort motor in there. I'd argue that the point of these flights isn't for the 0G experience. That's a cool perk way. The point of these flights is for the view. You're not paying this amount of money to go 0G. You can probably pay less money to get more minutes in 0G on a Vomit Comet, right? Just doing parabolas at 30,000 feet in a retired 727. You're buying these flights to look back on Earth and be granted with the magic that is the overview effect. You're not buying these flights to do somersaults, and if you are, you should just go on a 0G plane instead, because you'll get much more bang for your buck if that's what you want. So the ability to do a backflip takes the back seat, in my opinion, on the view, which is the purpose of the flights.
So
know.
Is going on one of these flights to perform experiment a waste? Like, should you just be with your face glued to the window?
I would argue that it depends what it's been paid for. The Italian Air Force paid for this to do experiments, so that's the reason that they purchased this flight. So I guess it's kind of also sort of not a parallel, but kind of. I'll argue it anyway. You can buy a flight because you need to go to or you're on a business trip, or you can buy a flight because you're on an airplane, obviously, or you can buy a flight because you're going on holiday. You're going on your summer holiday to wherever. Right? You have two purposes for being on the aircraft. One of them's going to a meeting in New York or whatever. The other person's going on holiday. So I guess if you bought a Virgin Galactic Blue Origin flight for scientific research, you do your scientific research. If you bought it to look out the window, you look out the window. It's why you bought the flight. You use it for your purpose. This flight Galactic 01 was paid for by the Italian Air Force, the Italian government, to perform scientific research. So that's what they did.
Yeah, and there are groups that buy space on New Shepard flights to do the exact same thing with Blue Origin, except in this case, it doesn't appear that the people are a factor in that. It appears that all of the experiments are done automatically with that, as opposed to what we saw on the Galactic 1 flight, which was one of the Italian Air Force folks literally going to a experiment rack and just turning things on with that. And GTH42 saying there may be some confusion between reason and excuse. So,
well, if you've paid for it, I don't see how it would be excuse. I'm just bringing up the video which you were talking about. As soon as the motor cuts off, you can see it if you bring it up, Dutta. As soon as the motor cuts off, this guy leaps out of his seat, runs, floats very quickly to the back of unit. Look at him, he's just go, 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 go. And then we get this floor camera, which is just incredible. This guy's just there. And he's just like, flick, flick, turn the keys, launch the missiles, press the buttons, flick, 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 go, go, go. Look at this. I mean, it's just like... It's like the most Air Force thing ever. Like, look at this guy. He's just starting up all these rack-mounted experiments, and then
there are actually a few scientist friends of mine who are scheduled to go on Virgin Galactic flights as basically doing exactly that, to monitor to activate, monitor, and run the experiments that are going to be on there. And who was it? Zappan. Hello, Zappan. Good to see you, as always. What is the price difference with a uncrewed sounding rocket with similar payload capacity? Well, I personally don't know that. I don't know how much, say, a typical sounding rocket like a Black Brant 11 would end up costing you. You could definitely go to higher altitudes, which means you can get longer times in weightlessness. But sometimes you don't need, 30 minutes of microgravity. Sometimes you only need a handful of minutes of microgravity. maybe you want to do a study of the human body reacting to microgravity in a relatively short amounts of time to see about, if there's a certain physiological indicators that have it there, that can indicate something with humans on board of a spacecraft. Headcrab actually has a super good point, which is something that typically does not happen with sounding rockets, which is bringing it back safe. Typically, from sounding rockets, you don't get your payload back. It goes back, goes up, and then it lands out in the ocean or in a designated area where it's supposed to smash, litho break, if you will, or what would you call it for the ocean? I don't know. You get the idea.
Ocean breaks, splashes down.
Yes. Yeah, and JTTV also saying sounding rockets can be hard to recover, or they have time-sensitive experiments that are on board of that as well. Yeah, so this is a solution to some of the problems that you may have with sounding rockets. But, it is also one of those things, too, where it's like, you can really... I could see an argument going both ways that, yes, this is a great thing, but also, yes, this is excessive in terms of Bennett aqua breaking. Thank you with that. And Zephan saying you come back on a parachute. It's not that easy. So it sounds like you should just open at 20,000 feet deploy a drogue, and then at 10,000 feet pop a parachute. But it's a lot more complicated than that.
Parachutes are hard.
So, yes. Oh, yeah. Turns out. Actually, didn't we have a whole discussion about that in one of our tomorrow members only shows? After this.
We were supposed to do a deep dive into parachutes, and we've been putting it off.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that could happen today. Maybe it can happen later, and that's why you should become a Tomorrow member. That's right. It's plugged right in the middle of the show at youtube.com/TMRO/join, which you can do right now live during the show. And you can join us in the after show, the members only after show, right at the after show when it ends in 30 or so minutes, something like that. Or if you're watching, on demand, feel free to do that as well, and we'll catch you soon. And as Smokey's saying, no parachutes are soft. The ground is hard. Correcting you there, Dada.
Okay, parachutes are difficult.
So, okay, yes, they are difficult. Zaphead, you say, but they land in the snow, where I have been. Yeah, it's still, I don't know if snow is not the end-all, be-all of soft landings. So
snow is fluffy until it's fast, and then it's hard.
Yeah, it's just like water. Water's great. It's comfy and good until you smack it at high speed. So
yep.
And Charles Page is actually asking, are those parachutes the passengers are wearing? And if so, a bunch of question marks?
No, they are seatbelts. You can see here, I think where is it? There's a good shot of Colin Bennett getting back into his seat somewhere, and him strapping up all of his seatbelts.
Are there parachutes available?
I don't think so. Here you go. Let's watch Colin do his seatbelt up. Go. There we go. You can see him doing it. It's what is that? He's struggling a little bit, but that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point harness there that the crew member has.
I think those are parachutes.
Yeah, I think that they are.
I think Charles is talking about the blue straps that are on his.
Oh, the blue thing, not the grey ones.
Yeah, the grey ones are integrated into the seat, and that would keep you in place in the seat.
Ah, I see.
I think they wear jumpsuits with parachutes strapped to them. Go to where the first guy jumps out of his seat and heads to the back.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a parachute, all right. Yep.
That's an emergency chute. It's not a recreational parachute.
I don't do
that's
skydiving for
so with Blue
recreational
Origin you
purposes.
get the launch escape motor optional package, right? This is the this is the extra optional package for Virgin Galactic flights. Just before you hit the runway, you get to hop out and deploy an emergency parachute. This is the optional extra.
A neuropilot saying, "I'm surprised that there's no helmets." Well, the whole point is that it's supposed to be a shirt sleeve environment inside of that there, kind of like on the space station. You know, it's people aren't walking around and floating around in pressure suits up there. So,
Yeah.
and Zappan saying, "Wind parachute from space." That's a pretty good point. So, which is that if I don't think those are gonna do good up at Apogee, but when you're coming back. Molly Marsgal 33 says that's called doing a Gagarin.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's the Gagarin
Even head
package. But Virgin
head crab
Gagarin, there you go. That's this package.
Oh my gosh, this is not. Bennett saying
Felix
someone do that for
Baumgartner.
Red Bull. Yeah, Felix Baumgartner, which he fell a little bit before he opened his parachute.
And who was it?
Before him,
was it Kittredge?
Joe Kittinger. Yeah,
Kittinger.
As a part of Project Excelsior.
That had done that years before.
Yeah, and we could talk about that during the after show. So it's a fascinating program with it. Ooh, JTTV. That's I suppose that is one way to do that. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. There you go. Virgin Galactic at a operational capacity, if you will. I feel like it's one of those sort of space shuttle things where, yes, it's operational, but it's still an experimental vehicle. And as someone pointed out,
they're practicing. They're getting into it.
As someone pointed out in the chat room, I don't know where it was, but they were saying just like the shuttle and the approach landing tests, it had the really big. There it goes in my head. The long nose with the sensor systems in it.
The pitot boom?
Yeah, pitot boom. Thank you very much on it, much like the shuttle during its approach landing tests. Good old Enterprise. And Jay saying Virgin Gagarin, don't encourage Branson to start another company. Very true. With that there. Yeah, so there you go. Virgin Galactic finally kicking it up and making it happen and showing it. Oh, thank you, Team Ant Army channel. Sensor boom test shockwave patterns at supersonic speeds. Thank you. I knew someone had mentioned it in the chat room, and you did. Thank you for that. So that's the chat room's awesome. You guys are great like that.
For it. There's a comment from Aravel. Data, if you scroll up a little bit, you'll find it. Aravel saying, I would go on a zero-G plane first to get it out of my system and to get familiar to be more ready for the real thing. And that kind of progression is something that's actually happening. This guy, the guy who jumps out of his seat, he's going on Axiom 3. So this kind of suborbital flight is kind of building up to going on a proper orbital flight on a Dragon. So this is an actual progression. Of course, zero-G plane to Virgin Galactic is one step below Virgin Galactic to Crew Dragon, but that is still a progression which is actually happening in the real world. So zero-G plane, Virgin Galactic, it's just a training, build you up to go into space.
I like Zapfan's comment. I want to see someone surf down the atmosphere on a fairing half.
Oh, that would be very scary. Oh, no. Someone else could do that. I'm not. I ain't doing that. So, no, thank you. No, I've seen the videos of the plasma. No, thank you. I'm good. So I'd rather see it out the window as opposed to streaming past me with centimeters of material. Being the only thing.
Just peek your head out of the side and then decapitate yourself.
Oh no, it'll be fine. I'll get rid of the hair. So
right.
It's a minor haircut. So, truly a fade. So what we have, there's also been quite a lot going on, Ryan. I saw that United Launch Alliance has now announced that Vulcan ain't going to be happening until at least fourth quarter 2023. So the end of this year at the
So
earliest.
Q1 2024. That's what they've announced.
Yeah, basically. So, and of course, when it comes to delays, welcome to aerospace. That is
What do you
essentially
expect?
how it goes. Yeah, that's it. So that's the way aerospace works. It just kind of goes that way. Also, I don't know if anybody caught it, but our friends over at Relativity Space did a pretty big test in deep throttling their Aeon R engine. They were able to, I think, slip it down to 65%. They running from full thrust all the way down to 65% and then back. So pretty cool doing that on the test stand, getting ready, making progress. As they said, Terran 1 looked good. The first stage did good enough that we're just going to go ahead and skip it to the big one. So what a gamble. I still don't know how to feel about that. I don't feel very comfortable about that.
All on black.
Yep, basically. So, and I mean,
fingers crossed it works.
Yep, it's the way it works. So, also, I don't know if you saw something very interesting on Twitter today. Did you guys see something? The interesting thing that I saw on Twitter today?
I don't know what you saw
I haven't
on Twitter,
seen anything.
So
it was this. Have you guys seen these folks in quite a while? So, remember these guys?
Vector? Who are
Yep,
Vector?
Vector. They're apparently
Vector?
back.
The Vector?
Vector. Yep, the Vector. I had to screenshot it just for the sake of.
Well, they're not verified, so they could be a fake Vector, Jared. You know, gotta be on the lookout now. They don't have the blue tick or the golden tick for companies. So I don't trust this tweet. I think this could be someone pretending to be Vector. To be completely honest,
Oh goodness!
Could never be more careful.
Well, yeah, but there they are. They're apparently. How many times has Vector died and come back? Several times.
I don't know if they've died. They've just, fallen silent. And I don't know if they've come back, except they've just, stuck a finger out of the pond that they're drowning in, Just like, what's the definition of going away and coming back? Maybe they've just decided to be silent. That is their strategy. Maybe they've decided to be Blue Origin, but, even more of a Blue Origin than Blue Origin is. Seriously, there's no requirement for them to say anything, so if they don't want to say anything, why should they?
Arvale's asking, are they the ones that photoshopped their rocket into a NASA facility? I'm not sure. So, I can't speak to that, unfortunately.
Smokescale says Vector hasn't died. They regenerate like a Time Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Hoopball's just respawning.
And then Hoopball respawning. So.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
Brilliant.
Our chat room just kind of taking it and running with it there. But yeah, that was surprising. Seeing that today. I was just like, huh? What? Would you, like these? I thought they died. I thought they went away. So but turns out, no, just doing their thing. So it's the way it goes. So yeah. Oh, Vector. Well, we knew thee only a little, and now they're back again for like the fourth or fifth time. I think they were going to be launching from the East Coast, but not at the Cape or Wallops. I think it was, I want to say, somewhere in Georgia at a spaceport there.
I know there is a spaceport being developed in Georgia, but I'm not sure about Vector's plans. To be honest, I've kind of forgotten. Because they're not at the forefront of spaceflight media. I think that is a fair assessment.
That's true. Yeah, they're not exactly chatting away at everybody's ears about what they're working on next. They seem to be very heads down and surprise I'm alive on a multitude of their projects that they're doing. So Bennett is got a pretty. A pretty good one there. I like that one, Bennett, which is thought you were seeing old posts because the website broke. No, it's broken the whole time. What do you mean? Yeah. So good on that with that there. So we'll have to see what happens with Vector and several other small companies as well. Ryan, you got anything else to talk about with?
Well, I just want to return to Vulcan real quick because there's a very interesting thing that's going on now, which this scenario has been playing out time and time again over the last couple of years, right? Starship, Vulcan, Zuki 2, the first methane rocket to orbit. Starship, they're still working on the pad, the infrastructure, repairing it from what Booster 7 did to it. They're working on hot staging potentially. They still need to develop a vehicle that can get itself into orbit without destroying itself. Vulcan has just been delayed to Q3 of this year, probably Q4 of this year, probably Q1 2024. They still need to work out problems with sensor. Zuki 2 has just been delayed because of second stage issues, and we don't know how long these things are going to take to resolve. So we are in the same situation again, where we don't know which vehicle is going to take the crown of the first methane rocket to reach orbit. Because of course, to start off with, Starship isn't going to be going to orbit. They're going to be doing a very long near-orbital, suborbital hop. Vulcan is going to be going to orbit, but they've been pushed probably, let's just say, okay, Vulcan's been pushed to the start of next year. That's most likely what's happened here. Zuki 2 is gunning for orbit, but we don't know if 1, they'll make it, or 2, when they'll be. So we're in this same situation we were like 2 years ago. Which one is it? I don't know which one. Chat room, I want to know what your order is. Is it Starship, Vulcan, Zuki 2? What's your order? Jared, what do you think? Because I don't know. I don't know what's happening anymore. Do you know what's happening? I mean, it's just,
I don't know what's happening anymore either. I mean, the sources I
so
talked
much
to
has
are
happened,
just
but yet we're in
confused.
the exact same place that we were 2 years ago. It's just mind-boggling.
I think that the first Methalox rocket to make it to orbit will be Terran R.
That wasn't on the list.
No. I think I don't know. Actually, I do. I think I want to say Vulcan. I think it's going to be Vulcan. I think Vulcan's going to do it. So I think that Starship still has so many unknowns, and especially now that even more unknowns are being thrown into the mix with it now. With hot stage, the hot staging and that's going to be a challenge. I don't think people know how. That's going to be a heck of an engineering challenge, and I don't think a lot of people understand it quite fully. Dada, I think you could probably speak to hot staging a lot more than I could.
I don't have anything to say about hot staging, but SpaceX is not one to shy away from the potential of failure in flight, whereas Vulcan is a lot more risk averse. And so they would be much more careful to dot their I's and cross their T's to make sure that the first flight that they do take is as successful as they're expecting it to be. And with SpaceX not actually doing an orbital flight, I mean, could they be? Could they put themselves into an orbit that would, only take what fuel they're going to use to land to circularize and then claim orbital presence, even though they don't actually do an orbit? Maybe, but everything I've seen from ULA, they're careful, they're methodical, and they like to do the job well done, and they don't want to take undue risks, whereas SpaceX is fly fast and break stuff. But honestly, I wouldn't put it past Relativity to come up with something that's really, really close to being done by the time you might have a 3-horse race by the time we get to flight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and New Glenn could just come out of nowhere. I think it was Arvale who had a pretty funny comment, which is, "It's New Glenn with the chair." So coming out with that wrestling match.
I mean,
there. And then also
it would be the most Blue Origin thing to do, to just launch just a fully assembled, Block 5 New Glenn rolls out from the hangar, goes to LC-36 or whatever it is, just launches, does it perfectly first time. We've been giving nothing at all, and yet just first time goes out, does it perfectly, takes the crowd. It would be the most Blue Origin thing to do. And there's another comment here. From T-Man Army saying, speaking of Starship, I believe they're getting ready to move the metal plate out tonight. Well, actually, cheeky plug, right now on NSF Starbase Live, we have a deployable right outside the tent, and you can see the SPMTs there with the water-cooled steel plate ready to roll. So there you go. We are the developments at the launch site are progressing with this new upward showerhead facing water deluge system that is apparently going to work.
Oh boy, I have my doubts. But what's cool about that is that they're going to test it and we're going to find out. And cool. Well, it's not my money and it's not my design, but I'm not worried. Sort of. But I also do want to just point out this one random comment in our chat room too from John saying, I am here for once I made it live. John, congratulations on making it live. We're glad to have you aboard with us here on Station 204. A lot of people saying that the hot staging is easier than the flip separation, and of course it is. It seems, yeah, Zapfan there. Zapfan, you're always making these great points about things. And Seki down below, or Bennett saying hot staging and reusing is going to be a challenge. You'd think it is going to be a challenge. It's a bigger challenge than I think most people are thinking it's going to be. Seki, of course, that is very correct. The SpaceX failure isn't project ending. We've seen that time and time again from SpaceX. That's one of the amazing things about them is that they're quite literally like Teflon. You can't stick failure to them. It's amazing that they're capable of doing that. And when you have the right people in the right place at the right time with the right motivation, kind of helps.
And the right money.
Yeah, well,
you have to be. No. Seriously, you have to have deep pockets to be able to fail often. If you fail and you lose your funding.
Yeah, I know. We're sorry.
But if you have deep pockets, then you can continually fail. It's just a very expensive game to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out, as the old saying says, you want to know how to become a millionaire in spaceflight? Start out as a billionaire.
Trillionaire.
I don't know if we're at that point yet. So I don't know if we're ever gonna. I think you got to offload Twitter before you come to that point.
Add the cash to what's been spent. I bet you'd be there.
I think SpaceX. If I saw correctly on some of my sources before jumping on today, I don't want to speak to it this week because I glanced at it, but I think SpaceX is going for another valuation. Another capital round, if you will, and is looking for big bucks out of that one. So, which I think I saw 150 billion thrown around as one of those. Yeah. So, and
Elon said in the Twitter space he did with Ashley Vance the other day, which didn't end too well, but at least the information we got from the space was that SpaceX have spent approximately $2 to $3 billion on the Starship program alone, just Starship. Nothing else. Not any of the other services that the company can provide, or manufactures, or stock, or talent. Just developing Starship is $2 to $3 billion. Yes, it's a big vehicle, but it's not the only thing that they do.
Yeah, aerospace is expensive.
Fun fact.
There's no way to get
in case you didn't know.
Although that's like a year of SLS.
Yes, the one SLS flight.
Yeah, and as Hoopaball is very correctly saying, Ares 1X
here we go.
never had budget problems. That's correct.
I mean, Constellation did get cancelled, so I'd argue that at the end it did, but at least when it flew, it didn't.
Yeah.
Just another classic Ares 1X massive win over Starship. This is why Ares 1X, Ares 1 in general, is the superior vehicle to Starship. It flew higher on its maiden flight test. They were both vehicles intending to do suborbital flights. The first stage worked perfectly. There were no engine outages. Ares 1X is the far superior vehicle for those reasons alone. That it is better than Starship. It is just, they are pure facts. They are pure facts. You cannot dispute them. It flew higher than Starship. It had 100% engine workings. We didn't lose any engines like Starship did. Booster 7 is weak compared to the faux 5-segment solid rocket booster that was on Ares 1X. Okay, it's just, these are pure facts that are undisputed. You cannot argue with them. Okay, it's just the most crucial factors for getting into space is altitude, velocity, and for both of them you need engines. And Ares 1X worked perfectly, and you cannot deny it. You just cannot deny it.
Ryan, do you see how high Station 204 is in orbit?
Yeah.
You see? We need to be this
Yeah.
high in order to see the size of the W that you have today. Anyways, I think that might be a good spot to end the show at today, since we have now annoyed the chat room officially with that there. So thank you, of course, for watching tomorrow today or on demand, however you do watch it. And, of course, we want to thank all of our members of tomorrow, which if you would like to become a member of tomorrow, you can head on over to youtube.com/TMRO/join. I believe in the members show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the discovery of the gravitational wave background. And that is because I didn't get to talk about it during the show today, and I want to kind of talk about it in more detail. So I'll talk about it in more detail in the public show next week, but I will also talk about it in detail in our members only show that we're about to switch over to right now. And of course, we want to thank our tomorrow Model 33 Flat Pro Plus Edition member Neurostream. Neurostream, you're awesome. We absolutely love the effort that you put in to help us out here at tomorrow. And we enjoy everybody, all of you, even those of you who just watch us. It's super helpful to work that and massage that algorithm to get us out in front of folks. So don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the bell, ring the button, do something in order to keep tomorrow in front of you. And that way we can get it in front of as many people as we can. So that's about it. That's it for me. I'm going to be here next week. Ryan, will you be here next week?
I will be here next week, just like Ares 1X, 100%, not efficiency, workingness record, you know. No outages for me, like the weak Booster 7. 100%.
Oh, boy. All right. Dada, will you be here next week?
I might be Raptor 33. I don't know.
Okay. We'll have to see. If you do let go, at least make it spectacular. Jamie, of course, always big question mark, but we still love you, Jamie. If you're watching, if you could hear me, Jamie. All right, everybody.
She turned off as soon as I started, saying that Ares 1X was the best rocket in the world. I mean, well, I can be telling the truth. She won't accept it, but I can.
I heard her roll her eyes from here.
Yeah.
It was loud. You should have heard it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Have a good holiday. Whatever you're enjoying. We'll see you, and we'll see you in the member stream very shortly. Just give us a couple minutes to get that going, right? Couple minutes.